The first rule of galactic politics was simple. Never involve Deathworlders unless you are prepared for consequences. Unfortunately, the Keltari Union learned that rule too late. The Keltari were not warriors. They evolved on a gentle world, low gravity, mild seasons, no apex predators. Their cities were open and beautiful, their ships lightly armed, their culture built on consensus and diplomacy. For thousands of years, they survived by avoiding conflict and trusting galactic law. So when the Marak hegemony arrived, the Keltari did what they had always done. They filed petitions. They sent envoys. They requested arbitration. The Marak answered by burning their orbital stations. Within weeks, Keltari space was under siege. Marak war fleets, brutal, efficient, and merciless, advanced system by system, enslaving populations and stripping worlds of resources. Distress signals flooded the galactic relays. Most species watched. Some offered sympathy. None offered fleets. Because the Marak were predators, and predators were expensive to fight. In desperation, the Keltari High Council debated a final option. One counselor hesitated, their frills trembling. Are we truly considering them? Another replied quietly, we have no one else. The chamber fell silent as a name appeared on the display. United Human Systems, a Deathworld species, new to the galactic stage, politically unpredictable, militarily excessive, known for one unsettling habit. When humans responded to violence, they responded decisively. The Keltari sent a single message, not a treaty request, not a plea for troops. Just 4 words, translated into human standard. We need help. They expected negotiations. They expected conditions. They expected, at best, a small expeditionary force. What they received shook the galaxy. 3 minutes after the message was received, every human military channel activated. Not publicly, not ceremonially, efficiently. Across dozens of systems, shipyards went to full output. Reserve fleets were mobilized. Civilian shipping lanes were cleared without explanation. Human admirals didn't ask if they would intervene. They asked how fast they could arrive. The galactic observers noticed first. Long-range sensors detected mass fleet movements, far beyond anything required for aid. Thousands of vessels shifted course simultaneously, forming massive strike formations. An ancient observer species issued a rare public warning. The Deathworlders are deploying in force. This is not assistance. This is escalation. The Keltari received a reply from humanity. It wasn't a contract. It wasn't a demand. It was a single transmission from a human fleet commander. You call for help, the voice said calmly. We don't send help. A pause. We send armadas. The first human fleets arrived on the edge of Keltari space less than 48 hours later. Marak scouts detected them and immediately withdrew. For the first time in decades, Marak commanders felt uncertainty. Human ships were unlike anything they'd encountered. Dense armor, modular weapons, redundant systems layered with brutal practicality. Nothing elegant, nothing ceremonial, everything built to survive hell. The humans did not issue threats. They did not broadcast ultimatums. They simply advanced. The Battle of Kelta Prime lasted 11 minutes. Marak fleets attempted standard shock tactics, overwhelming firepower, intimidation formations, aggressive boarding maneuvers. Human fleets absorbed the first strike, then adapted. Human ships moved in unpredictable vectors, coordinating through decentralized command structures that continued fighting even when flagships were destroyed. Weapons shifted frequencies mid-battle. Boarding teams targeted engines, not bridges. The Marak were used to fare. Humans brought momentum. By the time the battle ended, the Marak fleet was gone. Not routed, not retreating. Gone. The galaxy reacted instantly. Emergency sessions were called. Trade routes froze. Diplomatic channels flooded with a single question. What happens now? The answer came quickly. Human fleets didn't stop at Keltari borders. They pursued. System by system, human armadas dismantled Marak infrastructure. Shipyards were seized. Slave camps liberated. Command centers neutralized with surgical precision. Always military, never civilian. The message was unmistakable. Humanity wasn't there to conquer. They were there to end the threat. Marak leadership attempted negotiations. Humanity declined. You had your chance, a human admiral replied. You chose violence. The Marak offered tribute. Humanity refused. The Marak threatened escalation. Humanity accelerated. Within 6 weeks, the Marak hegemony ceased to exist. Not annihilated, contained. Their fleets dismantled. Their leadership arrested. Their borders enforced by human patrols until a new, non-hostile government could be established. The Keltari were free. When the war ended, the Keltari High Council asked a question that echoed across the galaxy. Why did you send so many ships? Their ambassador asked. We asked for help, not salvation. The human response was simple. On our world, the human said, if something threatens our people, we don't ask how little force we can use. They paused. We ask how much is enough to make sure it never happens again. The galaxy took notes. From that day forward, distress calls changed. Species hesitated before involving humanity, not because humans were cruel, but because their response was absolute. If humans came to your aid, the war would end. Completely. Years later, a galactic academy updated its threat assessments. Under united human systems, a new doctrine was added. Deathworlders do not escalate conflicts. They conclude them. And in the quiet spaces between the stars, a new saying spread, half warning, half comfort. If you are innocent and afraid, call the humans. But if you are the reason for the fear... The saying ended with a pause. Pray they never hear the call. Because Deathworlders don't send help. They send armadas.